time on Custom Works, we've got a brand new project that's going to be awesome. Loads of cool custom gas madness. And also, we have got the drawer. Oh dear. The drawer has not gone well. So let's get to the workshop. Let's take a look. In the workshop, here's the Land Rover. There's the cooking drawer. Now, we have had so many problems with this, and what I'm going to do in this episode is just talk through a few of these things because you know, it's probably things that I wish I'd have known a couple of weeks ago, and but I do know them now, and man have I learnt them the hard way. So let's have a look what the problems have been. Cooking drawer, as we saw last week, it sort of all works on its remote control. It's got an electrical actuator in it, and I run it off of this little remote control. It's got a super cool little receiver that I got off Amazon. It's great, all works lovely. And here we go. Drawer comes out. And it's got this, it's got the cool sink stuff and everything there. There's burners and sink. And then we also got this to work really nicely. The bit at the end there. Let's have that again, it's just so good. Look, just at the end. Oh yeah, all that, it sort of worked okay. One problem we did have, when the drawer was going all the way back in, we had the actuator just wasn't going the last millimetre. And if you use a micro-switched actuator, it has got to go back. We think it was sitting, well I know, because what I did, I slotted the hole at one end of the actuator so it could move back. And it had to move back 2 millimetres. 2 millimetres, clicks the switch, not all the way back, doesn't click the switch, but does sound like it had stopped. The upshot of this was, when we first wired it into the car, it was set back and it was in, and overnight, obviously that motor was just winding a little bit, and it totally burnt out the whole actuator. The actuator we were using, normal sort of actuator, but the thing was, we'd ordered it from China. To get the really long ones, you've got to order them from China, but luckily we had another one. So I took all this to bits and swapped in the actuator. We then had a lot of problems with the sliding tracks here, just the alignment. There's a lot of weight in here. Now, the problem is, as there's more weight, any sort of misalignment starts to drag the runners. So we had to move a lot of things about, get things straight, and then it all worked. And now it works super smooth all the time. Just staying with the actuator as well, and this is a thing on with fusing. I know a lot of the time people will fit things up and they don't fuse them, but if we had put a fuse, it would have protected the actuator. So even though I was just sort of rigging it up to see if it worked, it's now fused, and what I've done, I've left in just like a 2 amp fuse overnight, and for a while it's worked on a 2 amp. Obviously I'll put a higher ampage fuse in for in the future, but a 2 amp fuse hasn't burnt out, so I'm thinking that's like a, you know, it's probably all alright. If it don't burn a 2 amp fuse out, then it's fine. But always fuse stuff, don't mess about. Okay, so in here we've got this box, the eco-worthy box that works with this remote, and it's just such a great thing because what you don't have to do, you don't have to put any relays or anything, you don't have to do any other messing about. This does everything, and it's designed to be used with actuators. Even got a little picture of an actuator just there. And we wired it in. To fuse it, all we've done is just use one of these inline fuses. Obviously this needs wiring properly, not going to leave it like this. And maybe as well, this battery needs fixing down. It doesn't look like it's got any fixings to hold it down, but we'll do that as well. That wiring needs tidying up, but like I say, the fuse has made it just a lot safer and a lot better. Right, and so other things that have been very difficult on this project. Making this door's been hard. I'll just show you this in. Okay, so when the drawer's in, obviously it's got to fit up to the body. So when this is shut, it fits really nicely to the body, and it's got this like, you know, rubber, and it's rubber sealed and everything. It sits really good. It's got this rubber seal that channels the water away, fits really nicely, and that whole fiberglass edge really worked on that. So yeah, doing that fiberglass in, getting it like that, getting the gap right, really, really worthwhile. Inside the drawer, okay, so inside the drawer, there's just so much going on in such a small space. You know, under here, there's the tap. So of course, we need to carry some water. We're limited on space, so we're going to be carrying about 5 litres of water. This is like a micro switch tap. So when this goes up, that turns on the pump, and then the pump pumps the water through. Now actually got the pump fitted yet. This still isn't quite finished. Inside this drawer is a supply of gas, and what I was using is the very small bottles of gas, and one of those fitted inside. And the way you got to it with this drawer is spring loaded. You just disconnect the spring from there, open the door, and then you can see inside. And if we take a look inside, this is where the gas was going to go. A thing that I never knew was that a gas canister, like a gas bottle, cannot be laid on its side. Of course, I've seen, like, you know, forklift trucks, stuff like that. They always have the gas canister on the side, but apparently there's a different type of gas that runs into their engine in a liquid form, where to cook you need like gas in its aerated form. I never knew that. Anyway, I do now. So what I've done, I've got this thing, and it holds 3 aerosol cans of gas, and then there's just this pressure fitting that fits to there, and that makes the hob work. This has been a real learning curve. I've got to say, I have been camping. I'm not a fan of camping and all this sort of al fresco stuff. Just ain't my scene. So I've learned all about that, and now we've got that. Okay, so also in here and on this the door to the drawer, which of course has to work all automatically, to get that perfect alignment with the car door, I slotted a couple of holes here with the die grinder, and just so that can be adjusted in and out. On this side, I didn't have to. I seem to have enough adjustment on that side, and it all worked well. Just always remember that if you're ever making a door or a hatch, try and incorporate some sort of adjustment, because nothing ever just goes together right. There's always a little bit of alignment, and slotting those bits really helped. Okay, so to make this door move, we used this cable system, and the cable runs to the back of the box, and then it pulls through here. We added 2 adjusters as well to get this dead right, and here it is in action. So it goes forward, cable pulls back, and the door opens, and that's why there's this spring here, and when we go back, spring pulls the door back, and back it goes. Let's have that again, like that. Oh yeah, it shuts, and then it opens. Yeah, I've got to say I'm quite proud of that, because it does work every time, and it works very nicely. So then, to fit the water tank into here, the water tank's got to be removable, so you can go and fill it. I didn't want to have to, well, there was just not room to put a filler on here. So this is how the water tank works. There's this 5 litre bottle, and it comes out on this extra long piece of, well, it's a flexible tap connector. Obviously that goes to the tap, but then I didn't want to have to keep undoing this, so I've bonded the lid to there, and then with a whole cacophony of connections, I've connected to there. But the main bit is I use this which is, you know, just like an airline, but for water. So you can take this away, you can fill it up. You've not got to mess about with nothing. You just put that in there, clip it in, and then the bottle just goes into there. Job done, you've got your water. And I didn't want that to be difficult anyway, because it's only 5 litres. Although, I don't know what you're going to be doing with this, swilling cups. How much water do you need to swill a cup, you know? Hardly any, loads, I don't really know. But anyway, that all works nice. Okay, so another thing we've done, we fitted this small drawer, teaspoons or something, knives and forks, whatever. Stuff in there anyway, and that goes in nice. And that is a drawer, it came all stainless steel, and that's from like, you know, like the grams under a coffee machine, that normally collects those, but it was just right. And we made this plate, bodywork that in, that's looking good. And as a little handle, I just use this large grommet, which totally works. So, inside the cooking drawer, we've got this, which is a waste pipe. That fits onto the plug hole thing, the trap at the bottom of the plug, and that just drains out onto the floor when you take the plug out. Also, we've got this battery that is super well bolted down. This has got a piece of neoprene rubber underneath here, so it holds it nice and, you know, secure. That still needs to be wired up. We're just waiting on the pump so that the pump pumps the water through, and that powers the pump. Also got this really snazzy thing that's got the propane in it. Self-contained unit, holds everything. Easily turn on and offable through the front door there. Obviously normally you wouldn't see this because the lid had been on. This is the outside of the drawer, and the cable mechanism sits down there, and just in this part you can see where the electrical actuator is, and this bit's cut out because the actual body of the actuator moves into there as it goes right back into the you know, into the aperture. I'm going to say hole, yeah. So as far as safety goes with the drawer, you know, you can't just have this drawer that it's all on remote and stuff, and you could sit on the button, and then this could just come out as you're driving along and, like, I don't know, bop someone on the pavement or something like that, or knock a cyclist off, you know, something like that. So it has got a sort of fail-safe to it. So it only works when the handbrake's on. And what I've done here, underneath the handbrake boot, I've used like a brake light switch there. And when the handbrake is off, it disconnects. And when the handbrake is on, it connects and completes the circuit. Everything in this, every connection is soldered, everything is nut and bolted. It's super double safe. So it's got the spring just to save the switch in case you yank on the handbrake, you know, too aggressively. It can never break. So yeah, that is the safety fail-safe on the cooking drawer. Okay, so that is a cooking drawer. You know, there's a few bits still to do. I've got to fit that pump. It needs a blanking plate for over where the water bottle goes, so it all looks super slick. Other than that though, it's pretty much finished. And hopefully later on in the week, if you look out, there's going to be a short bonus episode where we actually just show it fully done. I don't know, we might even boil some water on it and have a cup of tea. I don't know. But anyway, cooking drawer, sort of done. Okay then, let's get back to some hot rodding and customising. All that 4x4 thing sort of left me feeling muddy. So, here we are, it's the Austin A40. Okay then, so genuinely, first time I've looked around it, just rolled it in, I've done nothing else. So let's have a look. Do you know what, I think back to front. So at the back, we can see we got super like heavy duty chassis. Oh, that looks good. I like the fact it's got, you know, real old school. It's got extended shackles on the leaf springs to jack it up. Pretty cool. Nice big fat wheels at the back. And this is actually, it's a fibreglass body, which I didn't even know that they did. This must be, you know, super rare. And I'm happy it's fibreglass, because if it was steel, I'd have to do rust repair, and there ain't no repairing rust. So this should come out really nice. Interior, yeah, there's some work to do in here. I think this probably this dash needs some work. Obviously, no seats, so you know that's definitely something we're going to have a look at. Around the front, I would love the way this car sits. This car's right up at the front, sort of like Gasser style. Really, really cool. A lot of bits of just a lot of bodywork here, which is my thing. Round at the front, look at that stance. The stance is just so cool on this. And underneath as well, some really nice solid chassis. It's looking good. Let's have a look under the bonnet. So under the bonnet, I presume this is 2 litre Pinto. It's definitely going to pull this car along nicely. There's a lot of work been done here. A lot of work's been done already. This looks pretty good. Now one thing, just on opening this is something we're going to have to do. Look at the flop in that bonnet. Look at that. But it's floppy, but it's a really nice moulding. Whoever made these bodies made a pretty good job of it. This side, thankfully, around this side, it's the same as the other side, just in like a mirror image. It's always a good sign on a car. This side I think looks good. Looking at this visor at some point, it's been like, I don't know, like siliconed on, so there'll be some work there. We can, we'll make that so it looks the real deal. So looking at the doors here, these are a fiberglass door. They're super light. It's like this is a race car or something. And again, no, it's a little bit rough, but I think with a bit of a blocking, that's going to come up great. Really complicated door. On the inside, we are talking bare bones hot rod here. No winding mechanism. Just this strap that pulls the window up and down. That may need some attention. And also, old school latches as well. Old school door latches. This is like a latch you'd have on your bathroom. Moving around to the back of the car, obviously this back window here, I don't know, someone's done their best there. And this must have been quite a lot of work to do, but we'll change that and make this look more like the original sort of thing. And also, we'll probably brace the back of that cab as well, because that's a little bit wobbly there. You know what? I cannot wait to get started on it. It's got the seats here, so it's got the old school like leatherette seats. Looking a bit worse for wear on the back, but again, it's nothing that can't be sorted. This is going to be a great project, and this is a great project in the way of just a normal sort of project that you could do at home. And we're going to be doing it all right here, all on Custom Works, and from this to it being a nice finished truck, it's all going to happen, and you're going to say, oh, so stay tuned, it's going to be awesome! Yeah, we're going to make the whole bed on this. It doesn't come with the bed. It does come with these cool rear fenders though. I'm sure, you know, when they're mounted right, it's gonna look great. It's got an air of the 60s race car about it. I think as well, looking here, I think this car was painted in flake back in the day. It's like look at this, how it was once back in the day. Look at that, wow. Yeah, real survivor of a car. But why wouldn't it survive? It's in the best material to make a car out of in the world, fibreglass, so that's why this is still here. I've spoken to the bloke who owns this car, and we've spoke about what style he wants it to be and how it should look. And you know how it should look is exactly how he's going for it. So this is going to be, just imagine, some dude, it's the late 60s. He's not got a lot of money, but he wants to make an A40 hot rod. And we're going to try and keep it period to like a weekend racer, that sort of thing. and there's some great bits going on it. So starting at the front, we're going to make a grille to fit in here. Now, in the sort of tradition of race, it's just going to be aluminium with some slots in it. We're definitely going to laser cut that, because you know what, there is not grinding discs in the world that is going to do that. Right, and so in the interior, as you can see, it's got this beautiful dashboard that is made of, like, I don't know, probably just like plywood, and then this stuff that looks like sort of diamond pleat has been glued on it. All this is going. Now, the dashboard's going to be so cool in this car. It's going to be a piece of aluminium, again left dull. It's going to have toggle switches and the dials remounted, but purely for that sort of 60s look. It's going to have the toggle switches, and then it's going to have, each one is going to be labelled with, you know them like sticky labels where you have the thing you turn around and go tickle, tickle, tickle. You know, like, I don't know, you'd have back in the day. That's how we're going to label all the switches. So it's perfectly in keeping with how it would have been back in the day. Also on the inside, of course, you've got to think about safety. This car at the minute hasn't got any seat belts, and apparently the seat belts used to be bolted to here, which is just a fiberglass panel. Not going to do you much good. So we're going to bring in, to pick up the door latches and to go right across, we're going to bring in not a roll cage, almost like a roll bar that will be glassed into this body and give this a lot more rigidity and just make it a way safer car. Something like this, it's never going to be the safest car, but for God's sake, you've got to have a seat belt. At the rear of the truck, it's just going to be like a flat-sided pickup bed. It's going to have a liftable tonneau cover, not electric, because that just ain't the style of the truck. So I've got these mud guards. Now, do I mount them like this, which is fully legal and MOT compliable, and I think that's how they will be mounted. But then what I'm thinking is having them on a slotted hole, so you can just arch these in like 30mm, so the tyre sticks out a bit. Infinitely cooler, and I think definitely like the summer setting for the truck. So then back to the front, you see just here, this is a fiberglass body and it is flexible. So just here, obviously when you're driving along, all the mud and stuff's going to fly through this hole. So we're going to fill this in, and we're going to make some inner wings on this, and we're going to do them all in dye bond and fiberglass, and it will just keep all the dirt off of the engine and out from flying. It'll fly into the front of the door. It can't be good. Right, so it's the door off the A40 now. These were fiberglass door, and they've got their faults, but they're pretty nice. It's a really lightweight door, and as we're going for that race car sort of theme, awesome. However, there's race car theme, and then there's just pain in the arse, and I cannot see that this strap that pulls the window up and then makes all this sort of flex is ever going to be a good idea. So what we're going to do, I'm going to make them electric. Now, as you may know, I have a certain penchant for the electrical actuator. So I was thinking something like this. Here's an old actuator that I've got lying around. Of course, I've got actuators lying around. I'm always messing about with them. So, my thinking is, I mount an actuator in the bottom of the door, and it is literally the easiest way to make a car have electric windows in the world. However, this actuator is powered for power, and certainly not for speed. Check it out. Wow, it's like the dullest thing I have ever seen. But hey, once it's got a faster actuator in, this is just a really nice, quick, cheap and easy way to put electric windows in your car. And it's got to be better than this, isn't it? Got to be better. Okay then, so that's it for this episode. My apologies, it is more me talking than me working, But a lot of the time, you know, like just soldering wires together, getting things wrong, having to do it again, getting all upset, like, oh, it's not working. No one wants to see any of that. I will admit when I've made mistakes on this channel, because it is all based in actual reality. In fact, it is my actual life. But things like that you don't want to see. That whole drawer thing took absolutely forever. It was a nightmare, but it's nearly finished. And I think it's one of the most important things. If you've got an unfinished project, just sitting in your workshop, in your garage, in a lockup, make a list of what you've got to do. If you've got to get some friends round or you've got to pay someone to help you, get that done, get the project finished, and just never give up. That's the best way for sort of any project. Anyway, next week, it's all A40. We'll be in here. We will be literally knee-deep in bondo and customising, and it's going to be awesome. So, click the bell icon, press the subscribe button, and that will make you subscribe. Leave comments down below. Give it a big thumbs up. From me to you, thank you very much, and good night.